Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video back on the Concorde. This is the newbie troubleshooting guide part 1. I released a couple of videos a while ago, a couple of tutorial videos on Concorde. Now a lot of people were having trouble with Concorde following their flight route and behaving properly and goodness knows what. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a two-part guide. This first part will be concentrating on entering your route and getting the Concorde up in the air safely and following your flight route correctly. I'm going to go through this thoroughly with you, so hopefully you can get along and get your Concorde following your own route. I do advise that you follow my instructions on this video step by step. Get it going with this one first, and then you can experiment later on. Well, okay, let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. So here we are at Heathrow Airport. We're on runway 9 right. As you can see, effectively I believe aircraft take off and land at something like 27 right or 27 left. Don't think it's typically ever sort of 9 left or 9 right, except in sort of extreme weather conditions or if the wind's blowing the wrong way. Doesn't matter for this video, we're taking off on 9 right, just to make things easier for ourselves. Follow this guide step by step if you're having trouble. Then, like I said, you can experiment later on. Let's get inside the cockpit. Now, there's a couple of things we're going to set up. First, I'm going to take you. I'm recording this with OBS, so I apologise if the screen quality is not the best. I was just reading up a little bit on Concorde there. One thing I want to show you is sim brief. I'll link a sim brief video for you down below for you as well, in case you've not come across this. You can use it basically to plan your flights. We're just going to take these coordinates and input them in Concorde. Don't worry about what I've done here. I've taken one of these and I've removed these sort of these little waypoints here with numbers. You can't really input these in Concorde, so you see there things like UL9, UL607, T911. I've taken one of these and I've just deleted. You can actually click in here and delete whichever ones you will, and then analyze route, and it will give you a shorter input to put in. This is what I wanted to do. Take off from EGLL, fly along here with just a few waypoints, navigation points, towards EDDF in Frankfurt. Taking off on 9 right, departure runway, landing runway 7 right at Frankfurt. Let's hope there's an ILS for that. If not, I'll have to change that for the next video. Really should have looked at that, but it doesn't matter. This video is about getting the Concorde up in the air and following your flight plan. So EGLL to EDDF. And that's the route I'm going to input. I may come back into this in a moment, but for now I'll switch you back to the Concorde. And what we're going to do, we are going to get down. Believe the default keys, let's just see, Control 5 will take me to the flight management system down here. So I think that's default, Control 5 on your keyboard. And what we're going to do, we're going to go to the data page, and at the bottom here, so I'll go through this slowly. These keys, again, I'll go through this part. If you click on it once, number 3 will come up. Clear that. Click on it twice quickly. The first letter will come up, D, and then E and F the more you click it. So I'm going to click it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Let's bring up E, twice for G, and then 4 times for L. 1, 2, 3, 4, EGLL. Hold down, left click and hold to bring up the dash. So it's EGLL basically. Let me just remind myself, my memory is like a sieve these days. EDDF. So 1, 2, 3, twice for D, D, and another D, twice, And 4 times for F, EDDF. And then click up here next to R1 to enter it from your from and to. EGLL to EDDF. Now, I'm going to show you something. If you bring up, I'm going to use flow for this, but you can use your top menu here. Just bring up your VFR map. And hopefully we should see a straight line from EGLL over to Frankfurt, EDDF, which is correct. So we know we've got that part correct. Just using the VFR map. I'll keep the VFR map open because I'm going to go to flight plan button now. And we're going to enter those waypoints I showed you before. I won't switch you backwards and forwards. But follow this, what I'm doing here. The first one is DET, D-E-T. So we can type in D. Click this 3 times for E. And twice for T. And we're going to put this, so DET, that'll be our first waypoint, on top of EGLL, our from. If you click there, it will put that waypoint after. There you go. After EGLL, but before EDDF, of course. And that's entered in. DET. Next part is DVR. Next waypoint. So D. V. R. I'm going to try and do all this in one hit for you so you can follow this directly. And you put this after, we want this one to go after DET. So click on DET, or the button next to it. And it may take a while to update, but there you go, DVR. Next one, we've just got 3 more to do, Conan. So 1, 2, 3 for K. 1, 2, 3, 4 for O. 1, 2, 3. Twice for A. 3 times for N. And remember, we're going to put this after, let me just make sure myself, DVR. So after DVR, so click on DVR and it will enter it. Now this may come up with a couple of options, so let me just switch you back to the sim brief. There we go. What you do, when you generate flight, and it will take you to view flight plan. Once you generated flight, it will take you to this page. Click on view PDF and it will open a PDF file. And you want to scroll down from the top, so this will be the top of the flight plan. Scroll down so you can see the different waypoints. There you go. As you can see there, DET, which we entered. It's got the next one as well, but it's Conan we're looking at. We want to find Conan because it's given us a couple of options. Look at the first line, North 5107. Let's take it back. North is typically the top option, but not always. 5107. So we know it's this one. This North is incorrect. That North is correct. So click on the correct option, and it will input that into our route. As you can see, Conan there. Now, you may not be able to see it here. Just press your up button, and then you can see Conan. So we'll carry on. Oh, yeah, we'll carry on. I've got you in the right place. I'm just looking at the flight plan again. Let me just see. Next part will be SPI. S. So follow this directly if you're having trouble, and this should see you right, I hope. SPI. I'm going to go through the rest slowly. So after Conan, we want SPI. That's right. Click on there. Does this come up with a couple of options as well? We'll find out. Takes a while to update. No, I think that's correct. Has it entered in yet? Because sometimes take a while to enter in. Ah, there you go. It was thinking about it. So it's given us a few options there as well. So we want North 58. Let me take you back to the web. It's going to go through this with you. So if you enter a sim brief file, you do need to refer to it. SPI, it's looking at North 537. Interesting. North 537. North 538. Well, you can see these norths are all incorrect. So it's this top one here. I know it is. And if we click on that and enter it, refer to your VFR map, and you should see and SPI, which is in the right place, come up here. So we know that's added correctly. The last waypoint we need to enter is Onoko. UNOKO. Onoko. Let me try keep that in mind. Have I got you in the right place? I do. So, U N Onoko. OKO. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for O. 1, 2, 3, and take your time with this if you're having trouble with the Concorde. Take your time with this part, entering your routes correctly. And is that after SPI? It is indeed. So we can put it in there. Hopefully this doesn't come up with options. No, it's put it in. So we know it's correct. You can see on the VFR map there. That's absolutely fine. So it's all entered. Our flight plan, and from Onoko we go to EDDF. So as you can see from the VFR map, it's a good way to reference it. If you are flying Concorde nowadays, you'll have something like a GPS system probably installed in Concorde, a proper one, or you'll be using your tablet or phone just to see your flight plan, and it's all fine. So don't feel like this is cheating whatsoever. We're in modern days. Once you've got that in, don't forget to press this insert temporary. So you're basically inserting your flight plan. And it's in. It's in the systems. If you click on your perf page, it will give you your V1, your rotate speed, and V2. So there we go. We know around 225 we need to rotate. All fairly straightforward. We'll just close that just so it doesn't interfere. As you can see, the visor's obscuring the nose of the Concorde. It doesn't have flaps, Concorde, but the nose can act as a bit of a wind drag. It's like a wind break in some aspects. But I think the most important use for it is that, you know, if it's obscuring the pilot's view, you want that to come down to 5 degrees. Hover over it with your mouse and just mouse down, wheel mouse down, to put it to 5 degrees. The nose will droop. Let's go outside to see. Takes a moment to actuate. There you go. It's drooping down. If we go in the cockpit, it's no longer obscuring our view. So that's in the correct position. We'll go to Control 7, Control 8. Control 8. We're going to turn our ignitions on. And keep an eye on this here. Auto throttle 1. We're going to do it from here. We're just going to left click on these, auto throttle. You'll see that's now turned on. While we're in this view, we're also going to turn, don't forget this part, so I'll go through it slowly. Flight directors on. Both flight directors on. Not auto throttle. We are going to use this. That's why I've turned the auto throttle on. I'm going to put this, if you mouse wheel up, it's going to go up in increments of 1. Right click on it, it will start going up in increments of 10. I'm going to put that to 220. Because with the Concorde, with the recent updates, let's get back to my normal view here. And scroll in. You can see that barber pole is on 250, it looks like. Once we get up in the air, this may come up to here, and it will scream at you if you go past this. It will go all the way up here where we can go to Mach 2 later on in flight, but for now it's there. Just keep that in mind. So the auto throttle, once we take off, I want to click on later, autopilot indicated airspeed acquired, and it will try and match that speed. So there you go. I hope I'm not going too fast. We've got our flight directors on this panel, both of them, and the auto throttle on. You can also turn on now. It's not going to make too much of a difference. Autopilot 1, or effectively you should wait, but we can turn that on for the moment. Altitude feet. We don't want to break the sound barrier, so we're going to follow proper procedures below 24,000 feet. Otherwise you'll smash windows and all that good thing. Well, all that nasty stuff in fact. So 24,000 feet will be our first autopilot acquired altitude. Once we're up in the air, I'm going to go, basically, let's do this slowly. Autopilot acquired altitude on. It will climb to that if I click that. And also, I'm going to turn on our max climb rate, so it will climb at the max rate. Okay, you're following that, I hope. So, auto throttle on, flight directors on. I've turned on autopilot 1 for now, it doesn't matter. And feet 24,000. And before people get their knickers in a twist saying that's not the proper procedure, I'm just trying to get people up in the air and following your flight route. Get you past that point, then you can start experimenting with the proper procedures. I'm also going to turn this from radio navigation to basically VOR navigation. It means if you don't, to INS essentially. And what that will do is essentially follow our flight route that we got set in. So when we're up in the air, I'm going to turn on LNAV, lateral navigation, so it follows our route. That's an important step. Switch it to INS, and then we can click this later when we're up in the air to follow our route. Pretty straightforward stuff. The only other thing we need to do is Control 7. Turn on our afterburner piano keys, otherwise afterburner won't turn on. So click each of the 4 keys. They're now all turned on. And I believe, my friends, we are ready to party, so let's do that part now. Okay, so let's get this bird up in the air. Slight change I'm going to make. I'm going to put the auto throttle to 250. That's the speed we want to be below 10,000 feet. Now, when we take off, so I'm going to get to around 220 knots. I can zoom in a little bit there, 225 in fact. Rotate, pull back. I will then raise my landing gear, of course. Raise the nose. So, simple. Pull back, take off. Raise the landing gear as you would. Raise the visor up, all the way up. I'm going to turn off the afterburners as well once we've taken off, just so you know, when the auto throttle's on, it doesn't engage the afterburners and break the sound barrier before 24,000 feet. So we'll turn them off later. So again, landing gear up, raise the nose, turn the afterburners off. I'll be pitching to maintain around 220 to 250 knots. I'll then turn on lateral navigation. So lateral navigation, that means it will follow our route. Turn on autopilot altitude acquired, so it'll maintain at 24,000 feet. Probably turn on indicated airspeed acquired mode on 2, so I could take my hands off the throttle, and the auto throttle will kick in. It will maintain the speed below 10,000. We'll increase that later. And max climb on. So there's a lot. So let's break this down to make it easier. Take off, landing gear up, visor up, afterburners off. Those 3 things first. And then turn on lateral navigation. Don't forget to switch it to INS. Have it in INS. So basically it will follow your lateral navigation, and we'll click that on so it follows our route. Yeah, okay, so follow this. I'll try and go as slow as I can. Let's throttle up, release the parking brake, throttle all the way up so your afterburners kick in. Zoom in a little bit there. There we go. Afterburners are on. First thing we're going to keep an eye on is to reach this around 220, 225, in fact, to be exact, for V1. Rotate, rather. So here we go. Keep yourself nice and calm, even though you've got all this fuel thundering beneath you and fires lit and goodness knows what. Pull back on the yoke. You might have to pull back a wee bit there. Right, gear up. Just pressing the G on my keyboard. Gear's going up. I'm going to raise my visors. Bring back my throttle. Bring back your physical throttle. You can see it's over zooming a little bit there. Over speeding. Controller 7, turn off your afterburners. You don't want them kicking in. Go back up. Pitch to around. So I'm going to pull my yoke backwards. Don't want to break that 250 knot speed. I can click it on, auto throttle on, indicated airspeed acquired. Click on lateral navigation. That's this one here. LNAV mode on. See, it's turning by itself. It's following our course there. Sticking at 250 feet. Turn on altitude acquired mode. That's on. And max climb on. You see this vertical speed indicator. It will come back down to begin with, but then it should start moving up again because I've got max climb turned on. It's keeping us at 250 knots, the auto throttle. And you can see this vertical speed indicator's moving up. It's climbing at our max climb rate. So sorry, a lot going on there. We're going to keep it at 250 knots. The barber pole's moving, but I'm not going to be tempted yet. We're below 10,000 feet. Do keep that in mind. If that went a little bit quick, I mean, that's the reality of it. Those are the steps you need to take. Go back and just rewind the video a bit just to watch that a bit slower. But it's following our route. Again, input the same route I did and follow the same steps. And you should be golden. So we've got altitude acquired mode on, 24,000 feet. Max climb. We're going to pass 10,000 feet in a moment. So I can turn my landing lights off. When that happens, it's following our route. 10,000 feet, landing lights off. Let's increase our throttle. Let's go. It seems to be about 400 knots there. So I'll put it on 400 knots. Indicated airspeed acquired. Auto throttle's on, so you'll hear the engine spool up to try and reach that 400 knots. We're golden. We're going to climb to 24,000 feet. Alt and 0, I believe, are the default keys to see your passengers. How are they doing? Hey, champagne's out. Yeah, you enjoying yourselves? Yay! We're below. We've turned the afterburners off. We're not going to reach Mach 1. We've got auto throttle on 400 knots. So it's about 0.81 Mach, I believe. They're chatting away. We're raising up. Let's get back in the cockpit to make sure everything's dandy. 400 knots auto throttle is engaged and it's trying to reach that for us. Max climb is still on. We're getting to that 24,000 feet in a blink of an eye, aren't we? Oh, you beautiful aircraft. We could turn this off. We know it's following the course. That is a wonderful sight. So we'll get to 24,000 feet and we'll finish the video here. I want to keep this short just to show you how to follow a flight route and take off and set your auto throttle so you don't break the rules below 10,000 feet, etc. Might have been going slightly quicker, but we are in a Concorde, remember that. And you'll see, once this reaches 24,000 feet, altitude hold mode should turn on by itself, and these two lights should extinguish. And it reached that 24,000 feet. And we'll just check on the passengers when we see that turn on. So it's still climbing slightly. 24,000 feet is about to be reached. Max climb has turned off now because it's pretty much reaching that altitude. And come on, do me proud here. Still at 400 knots. And there you go. Altitude hold mode has turned itself on. How are the passengers? Mach. So we're now ready to go to supersonic speeds. We're still below Mach 1, which is right. And there you go, chaps. So there's the first part of the newbie troubleshooting guide. Follow those steps precisely, step by step, and you should be okay. Do let us know down in the comments. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Part 2 coming up soon. And I'll be seeing you very soon.